Hello. So, mainstream money advice. It doesn't serve freelancers, artists, and gig economy workers. Why? Because it doesn't fit a life with fluctuating income, fluctuating employment, fluctuating expenses, and many other factors that are outside of your control. So, here at Abundance Bound, we focus on teaching you how to create stability in a way that works and that feels good. And that is what I want to dive into today. So, my name is Miata Udoga. I am the CEO and founder of Abundance Bound, and I am the creator of the Financial Empowerment Program. This is the only step by step financial education and guidance that is designed specifically for creatives and non-traditional earners of all kinds. And our purpose, our mission is to help you learn precisely what you need to do to stop feeling like money is the one thing keeping you from living the life that you want. So, we believe that there are three keys to creating a relationship with money that allows you to thrive. You must be willing to strengthen your money mindset. That's what we really focused on during last week's live. Your money management. That's the second key. And your ability to make more. Okay. So again, three keys to creating a relationship with money. What are they? They are your money mindset, your money management, and your ability to make more. So today, I want us to really look at money management. I want to know what questions you have about process. How are you practically managing the flow of money in your life? So let me make sure that I can see. Welcome, Jackie and Kristen, Monique. Oh, you're so welcome. Yes, it has been a week since our conversation about money mindset. Cindy, let's see. Okay, perfect. So I definitely want you to feel free to type questions into the chat. I've got that up over here. Hi, Jackie, so that I can answer what questions you have. The key to effective money management. This is for everybody, but absolutely for all of us as non-traditional earners. The key is systems. You absolutely must have systems in place. The other thing about being a non-traditional earner is that we have a lot going on in our lives. We are typically not people who show up to work every morning at 8:30, 9 o'clock. We're told sort of exactly what we need to do for 8 hours, and we go home at 4:30 or 5. That is not what your life is like. You have a lot of different moving parts. And so the only way to effectively stay on top of your money management, which by the way, is even more critical for us than it is for people who have that built-in stability in their lives, the only way for us to effectively stay on top of our money management is to have systems. Now, the place that I want us all to start is I want us all to start with figuring out where you're starting from. Okay. That is it has to be the foundation of any money management system. We've got to figure out your point A. Where are you right now? Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, where are you in terms of your spending? We hear a lot about, oh, you have to have a budget, right? And most of us as non-traditional earners will hear that and will really say, how can I possibly have a budget when my income this month is likely to be totally different from what it was last month and from what it will be next month and the month after. So, how can I possibly budget? Okay, first of all, I don't like the word budget. The reason I don't like the word budget is really the same reason that I don't like the word diet. Budget instantly makes you think of what you cannot have. All the things that we need you to cut out of your life. So, Monique, you are not allowed to go get coffees anymore. And Jackie, no more internet shopping for you. And Kristen, there'll be no restaurants in your life, right? And as we're human. So the minute someone tells me what I cannot have, okay, maybe I'm going to be disciplined for a week or a month, or I might even be like a really disciplined person and I might be able to hang in there for a few months or even 6 months. But at the end of the day, yes, Jackie, you said it just feels horrible, right? At the end of the day, we are going to do the things that we want to do. And so, what we have to figure out is we have to figure out what those things are. We have to actually take the time to figure out, Jackie, what do you value? Right? Because if going out for the occasional coffee or eating out with friends or doing your grocery shopping in a certain way, if that is something that, I guess I'm going to use the word fuels you, it's a part of what fills your life, then we cannot ask you to remove that from your life and expect that it's something you're going to stick to. But what we do have to do is we have to have you get clear on what that looks like for you. We have to have you get clear on, if you're a coffee person, what does that currently look like in terms of how much you're spending on coffee? If you're someone who likes to go out to eat, we need to get clear on what that currently looks like. What does your dining out monthly amount, what does that currently look like? Many of us as non-traditional earners, we are investing in our careers. We're investing into our businesses as actors, as writers, as producers, as painters, as entrepreneurs. We are investing. We need to get clear on what does that actually look like? How much are you investing into your career? So that's what I mean by your starting point. We have to first be willing to look back at our recent history. For us as non-traditional earners, I say 6 months. We have to be willing to look back at that and just get clear on what is currently happening. And I'm gonna give you a tip here, which is I need you to look at what has been currently happening like a detective, not a judge. This is the place where many of us get really hard on ourselves. We look back at how we've been spending on restaurants, how we've been spending on clothes and coffee and groceries and all of the things that make up our lives. And part of the reason why we stop is because we just start beating ourselves up. We just start feeling so much guilt and shame and pain. And all of that, that is your judge hat. So, Monique, you said, do you mean currently like spending where? So, I am just trying to make sure I understand your question, Monique. So I'll clarify a little bit more. I would like for you to find out What is the average you're currently spending on groceries? What's the average you're currently spending on restaurants and clothes and on, I'm making this up because I don't know what you do in the world, acting classes and marketing materials? And what are you currently spending? And the way, guys, that we figure that out is we figure that out by looking back at our history. This is the most powerful work you can possibly do, is getting really clear about what has been happening. Now, let me tell you, if I could, this is what I would do. Let me look at who's here today. I would have Monique look at Natalie's numbers. And I would have Natalie look at Kathleen's numbers and Kathleen look at Jackie's numbers. Now, why? Why would I do that? Because Kathleen doesn't have any emotional investment in how Jackie has been spending. So you would really be able to just look at the last 6 months and get Jackie's averages, and you wouldn't have any self shame going on about it. In fact, you would probably find the exercise a little bit fun, right? Aren't we a little curious about how other people are spending? If I could do that, that's how I would have us all do this exercise. I would have someone else do it for you and you do it for someone else. Since I can't do that, what I'm going to ask you to do is to try to approach the exercise like you are doing it for someone else. All you are doing right now is gathering information in order to get clear on what your life costs you. Now, when I spoke about budgets, right, and the fact that I don't like the word budgets, part of what I want for you to have is, instead of a budget where it's like you can't have this, you can't have that, I want you ultimately to have a forecast, what we call a forecast. Now, what is a forecast? A forecast is where you purposefully decide where you want your money to go. So instead of saying there will not be any more coffees, you will instead look at how you have been spending on coffee, and you'll make a decision from a place of clarity and awareness about what has been happening. You'll make a decision as to how much you'll choose to spend on coffee in the future. That is your forecast. How are you choosing to allocate your resources? The other thing about this idea of budgets is that we want to separate, okay? So I'd like us to use the word forecast moving forward. But what I want you to do is I want you to separate your forecast from how you are earning. In other words, one of the things that gets us as non-traditional earners into big trouble is we say, I can't, Miata, tell you how I am going to spend because I don't know how I'm going to earn. And that is an unsustainable premise. So what we need to do is we need to separate those things. Let's first get absolutely clear on how we are going to spend. We will then be able to bring a lot more clarity and awareness and therefore power to how we are going to earn what we have decided and discovered we need. I went through huge portions of my life just saying, I need to earn more money. I need to earn more. That was how I got into a situation 25 years ago where I had 11 part time jobs. And guys, that's absolutely the truth. I am not exaggerating. I had 11 part time jobs at the same time. Why? Because I knew I needed to make more money. I wasn't earning enough money. But here's the thing, what does that mean? What does it mean that you need to earn more? How much more? We, again, as non traditional earners, we have to know that. Because what we're going to be talking about in next week's live is we're going to be talking about making more. Remember, I said 3 keys to money: mindset, management, and making more. But how do we effectively make more? How do we powerfully utilize our time so we're not running around like I was to 11 different jobs, which I guarantee is not helping you with whatever it is that you're up to in the world? How do we really take control of our time and our earnings? We do that by knowing exactly what is it that we need. Then we can get really clear, really focused on how we create that. Okay. So this is where it all begins. It absolutely begins with figuring out where you are starting from. Okay. The other part of your systems is I really want for everybody to look at creating your financial filing system. So I want you to think about how you want to organize the financial information in your life. Again, as people who are up to big things in the world, we cannot underestimate what clutter does in our lives. I had a teacher very early on in my own financial journey who told me that, she said, Miata, the universe is not going to deliver $1 million into chaos. And I want us to think about that for a second. The universe is not going to deliver $1 million into chaos. Most of us, we are here trying to do big things. We have real ideas and desires about how we want to create financial stability first, right? And even wealth for a wide variety of reasons. That's not about stuff, right? Wanting to earn more money isn't about just having more stuff. It's about what it allows you to do in the world. But I want you to think about what this teacher said to me. Do you really believe that abundance is coming into the systems and the structure that you have set up right now? Honestly, be honest with yourself and ask. The knowledge that you have about your finances, the understanding that you have, the fundamental organization that you have, do you genuinely believe that success, that you have created a framework in which success can not only come, but can last? Because when we tell ourselves what I am absolutely clear is a lie, which is that I'll create all that stuff, I'll create all that order as soon as the money shows up, guys, that is precisely why the money will not show up. And if it does show up, it is precisely why it will not stay. Okay. We hear about all of the people who have large amounts of money come into their lives, and in a year or 5 years or 10 years, they're broke. They're filing bankruptcy. And we all say, that would never be me. I would never do that. And I am here to tell you that they handled their money when they had it exactly the way they handled it when they didn't. So if you are not willing to find out how much you are spending on groceries today, you will not be willing to find out how much you are spending on groceries when you are earning hundreds of thousands of dollars, when you are earning millions of dollars, and you will have the same financial issues just on a larger level. Okay. So systems. If I show up at your house and I am looking at Monique, your profile picture right now, if I show up at Monique's house and I ask you, Monique, can you just pull out your bank statements for the last 6 months? And why don't we also take a look at your tax deductible records for the last quarter? And let's also look at your credit card statements for the last 3 months. If Monique can produce all of those things in 5 minutes or less, she has a filing system. She has structure. She has order. Okay. Because and it doesn't matter. Her filing system does not have to look like my filing system or like Jackie's filing system or John's filing system. It just needs to be a system. Boxes under the bed, bags, all of those things with piles of paper. Piles are not a filing system. Okay, let me take a look at some of the notes you guys have said. Jackie said that is terrifying. The same financial results with $1 million as I have now. Yes. And we need to allow that to sink in, because I genuinely believe that this is one of the biggest lies we are sold and that we buy into, which is that the amount of money we have is going to change our relationship with money, is going to change our results with money. And it will not. We have to be willing to change our relationship with money, regardless of how much we have right now. Now, Monique, you also said, I'd like to earn at least $4,000 a month, and I'm not close. I want to take care of a few specific things and then move forward with making more. And so I love that you have clarity on a number, okay? But again, if I showed up at your house, what I would want you to be totally clear on, and I mean exactly, is I want you to be able to show me where would that $4,000 a month go. Exactly. I would want everybody to be able to show me your forecast, which would be on average, I expect to have this much go to groceries. I expect to have this much go to gas for my car. This much will go for my rent or mortgage. This much will go for my debt. In our financial empowerment program, one of the most powerful things we do is we help you establish a debt plan. Because let me tell you what most of us are doing. We feel like we have a good month. We send a big chunk towards those credit cards and we feel good for a moment. And then next month, we have a not so great month. And so we're back to paying the minimums, or we're back to utilizing the credit cards again. And so this becomes our roller coaster. Okay. What we need to do is, again, as a part of that forecast, we need to know exactly how much we are going to pay towards our debt. And we work very closely and intensely with our members we do not pay more than that unless it is a very, very specific situation. Okay. Now, what else? Okay, so your systems, figuring out where you're starting from, creating your filing system, then building your forecast so that you actually have a plan for where your money is going. We really work on creating your money map because the other thing, and this ties into the note that you raised, Monique, is let's say, okay, so Monique raised the goal of $4,000 a month. What we know is that for most of us as non-traditional earners, that 4,000 isn't likely to show up 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, right? That is one of the upsides of the people who have those more traditional jobs. They know exactly how much is going to show up and how it's going to show up every 2 weeks or every week or every month. For us as non-traditional earners, we are more going to have what we call revenue models for the whole year. So $4,000 a month, that would be $48,000 a year. And this is another topic that we can talk about in another live. Remember, that is going to likely need to be after taxes. So we're really going to need to figure out what amount you need to earn to be able to clear that average of $4,000 a month. Okay. So once you have your forecast, then what we need to have you do is we need you to start tracking. Okay. Tracking is really, really important. So what I mean is that I want you to have a system that allows you to track exactly where your money goes every day. All right. Now, I believe that, again, as non-traditional earners, ultimately software is going to be the answer for you. All right. But for a second, what I want us to really realize is that the minute we hear tracking system, we hear software, most of us are like, you see, this is too much. I don't have time. I'm not good. I am definitely not good with electronics and software and things like that. We are talking about minutes out of your day if you commit to this. So Monique, I'm so grateful because you give input. You said I have a spending app that's been helpful when I use it. Yes, that's true for most of us. We have to not just have the system, we have to utilize the system, right? And we have to be truthful about what I'm talking about. So I want everybody to think about whatever time it is for you. It's 3:30 for me right now. If you're on the East Coast, it's 4:30. If you're on the West Coast, it's 1:30. Or if you're in another country, it could be any time. But I want you to think about how many spending situations have you had today? How many spending situations have you had today? Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Did you go get a coffee? Did you buy groceries? Did you put gas in your car? Did you pay a bill? I can tell you that I am thinking, it's 3:30 for me. I have not had a spending situation today yet. I have not paid a bill. I haven't paid a bill. I haven't bought anything yet today. Okay. When I ask this question in classes, okay, I have never had anyone answer more than 5. All right. Even teaching classes at the very end of the day, I have never had anyone with more than 5. Because to have more than 5, really, in any given day, you would really have to be someone who is like sitting down and paying multiple bills. And you might be that person on the 1st of the month, on the 15th of the month, paying multiple bills, right? But getting above 5 is rare. Now, why am I taking the time to make this point? Okay, because if you have a system and at the end of every day, your job before your head rested on the pillow was simply to enter in that system what you did today. Okay. Whether that system is a spreadsheet, whether it's an app, whether it's software, it is just saying, yep, that 34.89 was groceries, that 250 was a coffee or my laundry or whatever, right? Just simply making sure that everything was categorized as you are categorizing things. Guys, if we're honest, it would take you less than a minute to do that. That's the truth. And we know because we have done challenges in our financial empowerment program where for 30 days, everybody not only commits to using their tracking system, they commit to entering in the calendar the number of minutes it took them to update the tracking system. And if they skip a day, they just put that they didn't do anything that day, but then the next time they track, they have to record how many minutes it took so that you can really see over the course of a month that this is not a time-consuming practice. And the lie, again, the story we tell ourselves that being on top of our money and all this money stuff that Miata is talking about is going to take hours out of my time that I do not have. It is not true. And what it will do for you, what it will give you back is immeasurable. The amount of time that you are spending in anxiety and stress and pain around money, I promise you, if you are willing to engage in some simple systems, to learn how to set up systems that work for you, I promise they will take you a tiny amount of time, and the amount of time you get back from mental money worry is enormous. Okay. So tracking then allows you to have accountability to your forecast. So here's what I mean. I have a forecast that shows me exactly where I expect every penny of that. Let's use Monique's example, that $4,000 to go. I have a forecast that says this much I expect to go to groceries, this much I expect to go to this and this and this. And then I have a tracking system so that I ask our members to do this once a quarter. Every 3 months, I can pull a report from my tracking system and I can match it up to my forecast. I can look and I can say, I forecasted $500 a month for groceries. So 3 months, I should expect my totals to be somewhere around $1,500. I look at my tracking system and I see, am I under that? Am I close to that? Am I way over that? And what this does is it gives me the opportunity to course correct. It gives me the opportunity to do something if I am off from my forecast. Here's what most of us do, if we do this at all. At the end of the year, we look back at how much we've been spending. And if we had a budget, we match up how much we've been spending to that budget. And then we say, oh, I see this budget thing doesn't work. I'm nowhere near to what I said I was going to do. At the end of the year, what possible good does it do me to look and see that I spent more than I said I would spend? Literally, what possible good does it do me to look at the end of the year when there is nothing I can do about it? Nothing except feel bad, right? Whereas quarterly, what this allows is it allows for me to say, Okay. So I have definitely spent more in terms of career investments than I forecasted. So now I have the opportunity to look at my revenue model, to look at how I am earning. And I have the opportunity to know 3 months into the year, 6 months into the year, if I have a problem, right? And that's then another place that our financial empowerment program becomes so powerful, because you then have a place to come to troubleshoot, to adjust, so that you now have, whether you have 9 months left or 3 months left or 6 months left, to course correct to make sure that you are on track. Okay. So these are all of the kinds of structures and systems that are a really important part of this money key, which is your money management. I am certain that money management is one of those areas where education becomes particularly critical, because we don't know what we don't know. What I want, and part of the reason why Abundance Bound exists, is because I want non traditional earners to have a financial home. I want you to have a place that you can be constantly bringing your financial questions, your challenges, your areas of growth, so we can then determine how do you continue to grow and go to the next level. Money, your relationship with money will never be static, guys. You will never be able to check a box and say, okay, I've got that money stuff handled. I read that book. I took that course, right? This is what I have always wished. I have always wished that I could go to the gym for 6 weeks, that I could take a fitness class and be in shape forever, right? Legit. That is what I want. Let's just be honest, right? But we can all also be honest and say, Miata will never get that. And it's the same when it comes to our money. Why do we believe that we can read a book, that we can go to some investment class and it's handled? We can check that box with our financial relationship when we know there is not a single relationship in your life where you get to do that and expect that the relationship will be healthy and thriving. And so ongoing education is really important with money management, because I said it before, we don't know what we don't know. So let's look at a couple of things that have come up lately or in the last year or so in our financial empowerment program. So I want to give you a few situations. First of all, we've had this happen with a number of members who have had savings, right? They have actually taken time and put effort in over the years, or maybe there was a family gift and they have savings, okay? And they're not in the place yet where they feel they can be investing that savings. And that's something that we talk a lot about. But they want their money to be safe because, again, the precariousness of being a non-traditional earner, they want to keep these funds available. And so we discover that they have those funds sitting in their credit union, in their bank account at Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Cap or any of these banks, primary banks that you might be with, okay? And so I want you to imagine for a second that you have $30,000 in savings. And I know some of you may be like, that would be exciting, but okay, let's say that you have $30,000 in savings. I'm just going to take Chase Bank, okay? Or really most of the credit unions. And I know this isn't true for every, okay? But this is one of the things that I want you to check. what is the interest rate that you are being paid on that account? Because the number of people who we have had who have, whether it's 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 sitting in an account, paying them 0.01% annually in interest. Okay. Guys, $30,000, 0.01%. If you do the math, that is $3 a year. $3 a year that money is earning. You could have that money totally accessible to you, absolutely secure, sitting in a high interest savings account, sometimes also called a money market account, with no minimum required, no fees whatsoever, right now paying between 3 and 4% a year. 3% on $30,000 is $900 a year. That's $75 a month. Can you think of a bill you could pay every month? That might be your cell phone bill every month, paid just by having that money in a higher interest account. Okay, $3 versus $900. That's huge. Now, again, you may say, well, I knew that. I don't have my money sitting in my account earning 0.01%. But these are the areas where we don't know what we don't know. The other thing that we have seen, which in these last few weeks has become so real for many, many people, is people not understanding the FDIC insurance limit at your bank and institution. Okay. So at every institution, your money is only insured up to $250,000. Now, again, you may say, I don't have anything near that, but one day you will. And if that's not information you have, so I had a financial empowerment program member who started the program because she actually was quite a high earner. She earned in the mid 300,000s annually, but she felt very insecure about her money. She didn't know what she should be doing with it. She didn't feel like she had any sort of plan, and she felt a lot of fear, which is not a feeling that we want to have around one of our most important relationships. So she came into the program and she was like, I'm not interested in investing, and I really need my money to be safe. And, was very nervous that I was going to be pushing her to invest. And one of the things that we looked at is we looked at the fact that she had like over $350,000 sitting at Chase Bank, right? The FDIC insurance limit is $250,000, which means that, again, in her desire to keep her money safe, she actually was putting her money at risk. And in the last few weeks, with the actual failure of Silicon Valley Bank, the actual failure of Signature Bank, guys, there have been some truly terrifying moments for small businesses that have had all of their business revenue at those banks. Now, the government, it appears, is going to make all of those folks whole. Often, right? In the case of bank failures, the government will do that even beyond the FDIC insurance amount, but there is absolutely no guarantee. There is a likelihood of taking at least a 10 to 15% hit on whatever you had. And there is absolutely the likelihood that even if you ultimately get that money back, you will not get it back for quite some time. And yes, Monique, you said this time they have stepped in. Exactly, right? And these are the places where, again, we think now, oh, I don't need to know that. I don't have anything close to that. And then your business takes off, right? And this becomes information that not having it can have a significant impact. Other areas where it comes to money management, there are so many myths out there about taxes, about what you're allowed to deduct, what you're not allowed to deduct, what you need to understand, what you need to make sure you understand before incorporating. How do you prepare for an audit should you ever be audited? All of these things are things that you need to be willing to understand. You need to be willing to go back to what we talked about earlier. Is the universe going to deliver $1 million into chaos? Are you willing to increase your understanding, your awareness, your skills around money management to make it clear to the universe or whatever that you are ready to have large amounts come into your life? That really connects to what we talked about last week with mindset. But it is about creating that structure, creating those systems, and making it clear, not just to the universe, but to yourself, that you are ready to take care of and to grow whatever resources come your way. So I want to scan the chat. Please, if anyone has any particular questions about money management as a non-traditional earner, please go ahead and pop it into the chat. I am looking to see what you have said. Jackie, you said it's appealing to think about doing tasks that can help to alleviate mental money stress. Haven't thought about it like that. Yeah. And I believe that because I see it in myself and I see it in our clients and the thousands of people that I've been so blessed to work with over the years. We can't underestimate the energy drain of money anxiety, of money stress. It's huge. It's huge. And it's taking very real energy and time away from the things that we love. One of the things that I used to say is I used to really feel like all of this money stuff that, other people want me to focus on, all that money stuff is taking me away from what it is that I really love, from what it is that I really want to do. And what I've come to understand is money affects everything that matters to you, everything. When I look at the things that are the most important to me, my family, my children, right? My husband, my craft, my acting career, my participation in our society, like the places where I don't want to, I'm happy to send anything, but the places where I would like to be sending $50,000 checks instead of $500 checks or $50 checks, right? All of those things, my health, right? Just my time in general, money affects all of those things. So what I had to really recognize is that these things are inextricably linked. And so when I choose to put time and energy and resources towards my relationship with money, that is me honoring my relationship with my acting career. That is me honoring my relationship with my children and my husband and my family and my loved ones. That is me honoring my health. All of these things will be affected by a poor relationship with money. So I do believe that by focusing in, I'm not talking about I would now like you, Jackie, to spend 70% of your time, working on and thinking about your money, or 50%, or even 30%. I'm literally suggesting that this is a really important relationship. So, is it consistently getting some of our time, some of our energy, some of our resources? And again, that's really why we created the financial empowerment program, to give you a structure, to give you a place where you can spend that time and be supported. There's a book called, what's the book called? The Millionaire Next Door. It was written a long time ago and it's kind of out of date. And it's pretty boring. However, there were some really fundamental and important principles in The Millionaire Next Door. And they looked at a lot of things, factors, when it came to groups of people that they called PAWs, prodigious accumulators of wealth. Okay, prodigious accumulators of wealth. And then they divided us into another group, people into another group called under accumulators of wealth. Okay. And they kind of looked at what kind of cars do prodigious accumulators of wealth drive versus under accumulators of wealth, and how much did prodigious accumulators of wealth spend on their houses, and what credit cards do prodigious accumulators of wealth use, and like all of these kinds of questions. But to me, the most valuable question was, how much time do they spend working on their money, right? How much time do they spend working on their money? And they asked this of prodigious accumulators of wealth and under accumulators of wealth. And the answer, everyone, really, it doesn't stun me anymore because I've known it for years, but the answer stunned me. The prodigious accumulators of wealth, the average amount of time spent working on their money every month was 8.4 hours a month. 8.4, that's it. We're talking about like a little bit more than 2 hours a month spent working on your money. The under accumulators of wealth, it was like half that. It's like 4 hours a month, right? And it was so mind-blowing to me because, first of all, what I had to understand was that I was not even spending 4 hours a month working on my money. I wasn't spending any time working on my money, out there trying to earn it, hustling, right? Absolutely. I was doing that. Out there worrying about it. Oh, I had that like hands down. But actual time working on my money, on my systems, on my practices, on my education, continuing to read, on my business structures, my planning, my revenue modeling, my forecasting, I wasn't spending any time, right? So the 4-hour benchmark for the under accumulators of wealth, I was clearly under that, right? But the 8.4 hours, we can all do that. And if we're not willing to do that, then we have to accept why our relationship with money sucks. Guys, there's not a single relationship that you could possibly expect to be good that you put less than 2 hours a week into that relationship. So we have to stop being surprised that our money is not where we want it to be. So again, what the financial empowerment program is for is telling you exactly what to do with those 8 hours, giving you the map, because it's different how I was spending my 8 hours a month 25 years ago. Absolutely different from how I'm spending it today, and very different from how I will be, hopefully, spending it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But my core systems, once I started to have systems, those have not changed. Okay. And so, really looking at, again, where we started today, where you are right now, and then figuring out point A, now where we want to go, point B, and then we have to chart the course. And that course defines how you need to be focusing your 2+ hours a week, your 8+ hours a month. Okay. So please let me know if you have any questions. Next week, we are going to be talking about that third principle of money, which is making more. All right. Whether you want to generate a new stream of income from scratch, whether you want to make the business that you already have more profitable, or find sideline employment that works with your life, it is so important that we learn the building blocks of how to create cash. Okay. So that we feel stable even when the world doesn't. Stability can feel incredibly elusive to us as non-traditional earners. And we have to address that, because it is almost impossible to create success without stability. All right. And a part of creating stability is building those earning muscles that make us stronger earners. All right. Because that is it is a key piece. We're working on our mindset, we're working on our management. We also all need to be working on making more. It's those three pieces together. So, a tiny bit of news. I'm super excited that tomorrow I will be going live with Audrey Moore from Audrey Helps Actors. If you are an actor, Audrey, in my opinion, her podcast is life changing. The way that she breaks down how to approach your career as powerfully as possible, because as an Olympian, really, is how she frames it. And I think it's so valuable because, yes, being a professional actor, it is like an Olympic sport, and it requires us to train and to be ready to approach that career like Olympians. So I am so excited. I'll be going live with Audrey tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific from Audrey's Instagram channel. Is that what it's called? So please join us for that if you are an actor. And I'm just seeing if there are any questions here that I missed really quickly. Jackie, you said, did you start with a healthy money mindset, good beliefs around money? Oh, goodness, Jackie, no. No, I did not. I was very much the product of, I'm the first generation in this country. And I was raised by parents who very understandably taught me that if you were not suffering, right? If like blood was not coming from your fingers, you were not working hard enough to expect to have success in your life. I very much believed that money was always going to be about sacrifice, right? And I had a lot of very limiting beliefs about what it meant to choose acting. I really did buy into the idea that my commitment to my art meant a commitment again to suffering. So there was a lot that lined up there. I also had a lot of fear around money. Investing was something that I was like, oh my goodness, no, that's not for me. I used to say, like, what does that even mean? But I used to say that a lot. And I had a lot of shame, right? A lot of shame because I got into some pretty significant financial trouble, which was really the result of having never been taught. And it's interesting to me now, the idea, like, would I carry shame about not understanding astrophysics, right? No, because I never learned astrophysics. And I feel like that's true for many of us when it comes to our financial education. But I also believe that once we become adults, we must claim the fact that we never learned, and we have to decide to learn. But yes, Jackie and everyone, part of the reason why our program has 3 pillars: money mindset, money management, and making more, is because I am now 100% clear that we must focus on all 3. I, 25 years ago, wasn't interested in mindset. I was like, I'm over $80,000 in credit card debt. Show me how to fix that. I don't want to hear about positive thinking and all of that nonsense. And I now understand, and this is really what we teach and work a lot on. Money mindset is about so much more than just mantras and contemplation. And I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but it is truly about understanding the power of our minds. And that is something that we can use in support of where we're going. And it's also something that we generally unconsciously use against where we're going. So I hope that is helpful. Thank you guys so much. I am feeling more comfortable with this whole live platform, and hopefully it will just get easier every week. I, again, am committing to now going live every Monday at 1, right? Yes, every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And next week, we're going to talk about making more. But every Monday, I will be here addressing your questions and talking about things that have come up that I'd like to share, and hopefully just helping us all continue on this journey together. Have a wonderful week, everyone. I'll hope to see some of you tomorrow for my live with Audrey Moore. And otherwise, I would love it if you spread the word and come back and join me next week. Bye.